James Polk was one of the few presidents who accomplished virtually everything he had promised. He even caused a war to do it. James Polk was born on November 2nd, 1795, in Pineville, North Carolina. When Polk was young, he was not very healthy. As he grew older, he got less frail, probably due to an operation he had. That operation, however, probably also left him sterile. His family moved to Tennessee. His father owned thousands of acres of land and over 50 slaves. The success of his father's farm allowed his father to dabble in politics. In 1816, the young James attended the University of North Carolina and was on the debating team. After graduating in 1818, he returned to Nashville to read law under a well-known trial lawyer. In 1819, he was elected to the clerk of the court of the Tennessee State Senate. He was admitted to the bar in 1820. His first legal case was to defend his father against a public fighting charge. He secured a release for his father for $1. His law practice was successful and it allowed him to enter politics. He won a seat in the Tennessee House of Representatives and was earning a reputation as a good orator, which he probably got from being on the debating team when he was a student in North Carolina. He met Sarah Childress in 1827 and they were married in 1824. She was from a prominent family and helped him in his campaigns. He met Andrew Jackson, who helped him with his political career. He was even called the Young Hickory after Jackson's nickname of Old Hickory. At the age of 29, he was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. He hoped to get rid of the electoral college system and elect the president by popular vote. However, he made no great attempts to accomplish this. He was vocally critical of Adams' administration, particularly due to the election of 1824 when Adams struck his corrupt bargain to win the presidency. Polk supported Jackson in his fight with the banks when he was chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. Jackson helped Polk become Speaker of the House. The two big issues were slavery and the economic crisis of 1837. The economy was in the tank for over 5 years. As Speaker of the House, he forced the gag rule, which forbid debate on the issue of slavery. He left the House and was elected governor of Tennessee. While he was governor, he attempted to run for the vice presidency, but ended up dropping out. Polk had little success as governor and lost the next election. He returned to his law practice and again attempted to run for the governor of Tennessee, and once again lost. In the election of 1844, Polk would again try for the vice presidency. The vice presidency was now seen as a stepping stone for the presidency. The convention couldn't really decide on a presidential candidate. In a surprise outcome, on the 9th ballot, they would nominate Polk not for the vice presidency, but for the presidency. And they would also nominate George M. Dallas, a former senator from Pennsylvania, to the vice presidency. The election was all about Texas annexation and Manifest Destiny, our expansion westward. Polk went on to win the election, receiving 170 electoral votes and 49.5% of the popular vote. Henry Clay received 105 electoral votes and 48.1% of the popular vote. Polk wanted to achieve four things while as president. He wanted to reestablish the independent treasury system, reduce tariffs, acquire the Oregon Territory, and acquire California from Mexico. Polk would achieve all of these goals, although it took a war with Mexico to do it. Polk also pledged to serve just one term. Initially, Polk negotiated a border deal with the British, gaining most of Oregon territories, which included what today is Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. Tensions were rising with Mexico over the annexation of Texas and our border with Mexico. Mexico warned the United States not to annex Texas. Texas claimed independence in 1836. Other regions of Mexico were also trying to break away. Mexico also had insurrections all across the country. They were not really in a position to be involved in a conflict with the United States. Polk annexed Texas and sent troops down to disputed lands along the Rio. We had offered to buy the territory from Mexico, but they refused. On April 25th, 1846, Mexico attacked some of our troops on the Mexican border, killing about 12 soldiers. Zachary Taylor got reinforcements and counterattacked. It was called the Battle of Punta Alta. In the counterattack, Taylor lost 4 men, but killed over 100 Mexicans. On May 13, 1846, Congress declared war on Mexico, even though they knew what Polk had done to instigate the war. They knew he wanted the land. Mexico never did declare war on the United States. Ulysses Grant, who was an officer at that time, claimed that we were trying to make Mexico attack us so we didn't look like the aggressors. Winfield Scott was sent with more men on ships. The U.S. had sent numerous ships around Mexico to deploy troops and enforce a blockade of the country. Winfield Scott advanced to Mexico City and occupied it. It made him a national hero. There was a debate as to whether we should take all Mexico, but we feared cultural differences and overexpansion. Mexico simply did not have the power to defeat the United States, and on February 2nd, 1848, after the Guadalupe-Hidalgo Treaty was signed, the war ended. In that treaty, we compensated Mexico $15 million for the land. Half of the $30 million Polk had offered them before the war began. In return, we got what today is California, most of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, and Colorado. With the annexation of Mexico's territory, Polk achieved all of his stated 4 goals. Previously, he had set up an independent treasury and lowered the tariffs. He even kept his pledge to serve only one term. When Polk left office, he went on a tour around the South. He returned home and died shortly afterwards. He died on June 15, 1849, at the age of 53, probably from cholera. His wife, Sarah, lived at their home for another 42 years and died on August 14, 1891, at the age of 87. When he died, Polk was worth around $13 million in today's money. Thanks for listening.